start off with a plan view, just a top view. This is just a simple, what's it called, a slide? What's that slide?
The tri-glide?
A tri-glide, yeah. This
like
is
plastic one?
This is going to be a tri-glide. I don't know if it's plastic or metal, probably metal. But this is a really nice technique. It feels so good to use a marker to just draw this stuff, and you're not too worried about. I think this would be very suitable for, like, I don't know, Gabe, maybe you're sketching. I mean, you're already doing nice straight up black ink drawings, but just starting off with a gray marker is actually very nice too. Tri-glide. And so add some, so this is a standard tri-glide. Now if I add a little something funky, like a little extra extension on the side here where I can put a logo or branding. So let's say, in this case, let's just say Polk for fun. And this is where my cable's going to come in, because I was talking about that antenna or cable management, which is kind of a big deal. Add some shadows, because my light source is up here. So the light's coming down here, so I'm going to have some shadows cast down here. This should be a nice little sketch, and really simple. You know, I like doing simple stuff, because if it's simple, you can do it really nice. You know, some people like, oh, I like the challenge of it hard. Yeah, well, sometimes it's nicer to just do easy stuff, honestly, because it's going to come out hot. So that's what I'm kind of doing here. Put a little shadows on the indented logo, just to give it that little 3D. So that's the top view. I'll put in a belt now, which is just basically a straight line if we have top view. And then there's going to be shadow underneath that belt, right there, and it comes up, it's underneath there, it comes up above the centerpiece. So that's just a basic plan view. I'll put in some eyelets. Oh no, eyelet. I need a belt buckle. But I will put in some eyelets for down the road. Just for fun, because it just looks kind of fun. Even though this is not, I think I'll make this a belt buckle. Undecided if this is a belt buckle. I'm going to do another tri-glide, because a belt buckle and a tri-glide is basically the same. I mean, actually it is. It is actually the same, except with teeth, with forks, claws, prongs. That's it. So, okay, tri-glide, stroke. You know, okay, I'm going to do a belt buckle, straight up. It's so fun just drawing with marker. You can just be free.
You gonna go back over this with pen? Or?
I'm going to go over this with pen.
Okay.
So this is a tri-glide, but I'm going to keep the styles in the same. I'm going to have the same like design language from both. So this is a belt buckle. Then the leather comes through. So this is where, like, you know, classic art classes where they teach you to draw apples and, you know, flowers and stuff, still life. Well, that comes to real life here, because you have to pull out your stuff and draw it. So I'm going to put that here, and so I can see how, because I get super confused with straps, and I just want to see how this stuff works.
I like to have a picture of it, but then also have it in person. So I have like a really clear angle that's not like moving.
Right.
Anything, so it's like easy to draw, but then like you can inspect it also.
Right. Well, look how much bang for the buck I'm going to get for this. I have a belt buckle here. Not only am I going to design a belt buckle, but I'm going to have like some sort of fancy piece at the end, maybe a metal end piece, you know? I don't know what it's called. Let's say end piece. You know, just to make it look fancy. Then your eyelets. I'm going to have some fancy eyelets with metal grommets. Repeated shapes is always a nice visual for the eye. When you do repeated shapes, it just looks cool. So try to add them. So that's what I'm doing there. So buckle, end piece. And I'm gonna make this. This is gonna be a hot sketch, and it's just a simple, take it for granted type. It's just a really simple thing, basically. You take this stuff for granted, but it has to be designed as well. Unless you just buy off the shelf stuff, which is cheap. You don't want to do that unless you're working for a cheap company. If you're working for a cheap company, then you don't have to worry about this stuff. But I'm training you for expensive companies. Okay. I could go with ballpoint pen. Oh no, I'm going to put in some stitches first as well. I'm going to do as many details as I can figure out. It's funny how just putting in stitches helps you see 3D, what piece goes over other pieces. And alright, so anyway, let's throw in another logo. I hate it when we go too logo-ish, but... And here's a little tip. When you're doing words for logos, start with the middle letters first, and don't start with the first letters. Because if you start with the middle letters, so let's, for example, here's the logo. This is the logo. P-O-L-K. When I'm putting in the logo, I start off with the center letters, because that's where the center of the logo is, and therefore I can center it, in this case here. So if I want to center a word logo in the middle here, here's my center line. I'll start with the O, the L, and then I'll just add the end pieces. So center line. So just little tips on how to, sketch accurately after lots of sketching experience, which I have. Okay, now I'm going to pull off a pen. I don't know what I'm going to use yet. This looks fine. I've got a nice filled up page. Actually, I'm going to just add a little bit more to this. This is going to be the end piece. I love discovering. One of the best things about sketching is discovery. As you sketch, you discover new stuff. So I was just demonstrating this little piece right here, this logo treatment, how to line up logos and stuff. Just by accident, I was like, well, you know what? I've just basically done a zoomed-in view of my belt piece. So, happy accidents. As what's the artist's name? The guy with the big afro from the 70s and 80s.
Bob Ross.
Bob Ross. Thank you. Bob Ross is a great inspiration. All right. Oh, yeah. Okay, shadow. So my sunlight is still coming from the top right. I'm going to stay consistent with that on all my sketches. So, therefore, my strap is going to have a shadow coming underneath there. This just all adds to the funk. Also, on my belt buckle, a little shadow, drop shadow on all of that. Just adds again to the funk. Underneath the holes, kind of underneath the holes, I guess. Shadow. But each hole has its own little shadow itself. Shadow here. Alright. Now I'm going to get onto a pen. I hope I've got a really fluent pen. I want a pen that's going to flood with ink. So I'm going to pull out what I got in my little bag. And I'm going to test it out. My sketch page, move that out of the way, and I'll see what pens I've got. And I hope I've got something beefy. This looks quite beefy. I want the thin lines, but so this one looks quite good. I'll put that off to the side, but I'm going to find the best pen for me. This one's pretty good too. It's equal, so all these little funny steps, just testing out your marker. This one's a piece of shit. I'm not using that. But just testing out all these little tiny details I'm showing you add to a good sketch. This is a beautiful one. Look at those lines. So I definitely am going to take this little beauty. It's a generic, no name pen. That looks really nice. I've got some. Oh man, I hate it when I ruin a pen. This is an expensive one and relatively expensive, and the cap isn't on it. I kept the cap on the wrong side, so it's probably dead. Oh my god, it's not. Awesome. This is a beauty. I'm going to take that over these two, so I'll put those away. And finally, let's just test one more pen. Oh, this is a beauty too. It's a ballpoint. I'll keep that one also. So, got my pens. Put all the rest away. Keep your work surface tidy. Because if you keep your area tidy, this is going to super cheese out, but keep your work surface tidy, then your drawing should be tidy too. Anyway, all right, these are my pens. I don't know what brand. Pentel RSVP. Generic felt tip. God, this is going to be really nice and fun to use. Because look, I can fill in black. And also do little dark lines. Hey Bridget, you know was that you? No. What's that? Who? Oh, you take that. Remember I was talking about line thicknesses and line weights? This is going to be a total example because this is kind of a tech packy kind of situation, right? And I've got this lovely pen here, probably my thickest line. And then I've got this one here. That's a ballpoint. And here's another one. This is going to be my medium line. So I'm going to use the line weights. Like what? So it all relates. You know, I'm teaching hand sketching here, but it also relates into Illustrator, digital. All right. Anyway. So there we go. Oh man, I'm all confused about which cap's good with which. That and that. All right, these are my two main pens. So now I've got my pen selected, and I can start drawing. I need a ruler. I hope I have one. So here's a really nice. This thing feels so good. You know, so materials, what you use to draw, also will help make you draw better. I mean, seriously, because if you have nice professional materials, it makes you feel more professional subconsciously, and it just feels good. Feel this. The thing's nice.
This is nice. This thing's
Yeah.
Where'd you get this?
I just found it in the staff room. So I'm going to use this for my straight lines. It just slides around nice, feels good. It's going to make me have better lines than a cheap plastic ruler. So here we go. And then the old cheesy saying, think before you ink. Well, I'm going to have to a little bit. But you know what? I'm just going to go in there with the ballpoint pen, super light, and I'm just going to just sketch. Because I'm just going to start going for it. Eyeballing as I go through. Eyeballing my lines, parallel lines. Fade that stuff off. So I'm eyeballing this because all of my whole artwork, all of this is all parallel lines. And I'm just going to try to keep it all parallel. For example, I'm going to start working on this little piece here, but I'm eyeballing these lines to make sure it's all kind of lined up just because I want my page to look nice. I kind of like to think of each page as a little piece of art. Kind of. That's how I like to look at it. So I try to put in some craftsmanship. Drawing all these lines in, and it's going through everything, but it's light. It's all light, so it's all cool. I'm including the reflections, and everything. Tech packs are so fun. I love them. Some people think they're a real pain in the neck, but they're quite meditative because you just get into them in the, I don't know, the details and everything.
Yeah,
They're fun. It's like a video game. I look at Illustrator like a video game because You know, in a video game, you're trying to find the weapon, the good weapons, or the good shields, or that type of stuff. Well, it's the same in Photoshop and Illustrator and digital stuff, because you're trying to find the good weapons. You're trying to find the good brushes, the good tools, the good shortcuts.
Yeah.
I'm just learning not to fight something that's natural. If it's natural, just do it. It's like a drawing, and I mentioned this before. Don't fight the drawing. If you're having a hard time on a drawing, just put it away and come back to it. And then you'll come back with fresh thinking, a fresh approach, and you're not going to destroy your drawing. Otherwise, if you force a drawing and it's looking like crap, it's just going to look like crap in the end. Just stop, go away from it, and come back to it later. That's why I like to have a few drawings on one page. So if I'm screwing one up, then I just go into another one on the same page. That's why my pages look good, because I don't, I stuff them up with drawings, but then I don't force issues. Alright. I've got all my line stuff basically lined up right here. Marker. I'm going to draw in the shadow. Oh, and it's bleeding around my pen, but I guess it's artistic. I guess it's going to be okay. Work with it. Normally I don't like that, but in this case I'm going to work with it. It kind of has a cool glow. Rub off the rest of the marker. Because that ballpoint pen ink gets into your marker, and you can see with this little stroke here, it kind of got a smear. So basically, you have to rub that ink out of the marker, and because I just want to add some shadow back here. Okay, there. This will be fine. Oh. And okay, that one's basically done. Now let's move on to this one. No, I'm gonna move on to this one. So how does this work? I'm gonna have to. This is my buckle. So. To this belt, the prong is on the opposite side of the end of the belt. So the prong is here, and then the end of the belt is there. So my end of belt is here. My prong should go this way. All right, I'm going to go this way. Made a mistake. It's really like using your eyeballs to. There we go. Now, this needs to stay here. I need to look at that. I'm going to use my marker again and start putting the shadows again. Double up. My hardwares are not all matching up completely, but it'll be fine. Because I'll just say, yeah, I was just experimenting with different shapes. But it's actually a mistake. I don't have much time left, so I have to get a move on. I'm just using a C1 to the lightest gray I can, because it builds up. It builds up as you apply it, so okay, that's kind of done-ish. I'm going to make these look a little bit nicer, these prongs. I'm going to add some love to the shape of my eyelets instead of just having completely round eyelets. Let's just line this up so I get all my eyelets lined up. Super light on the pen. For the holes, put in some shadows underneath these. Put in some reflection lines, suggestions. I'm going to draw the end piece. Oh, this is too big. Take in some crosshairs to make it look like it's professional. Some engineering cross hatching to show cut metal. That's the end piece. Now I'm going to have to get in here with the marker and add shadows. Remember, my sunlight's coming from this side, so everything on this side is going to be casting a shadow. I'm going to put in some pill shapes for my holes, but I'm not going to go with pen on this. This is just only a suggestion. Okay, write in that logo nicely. As I can say, center line. I'm going to draw a center line right through this whole thing with the marker. I don't know, I think it'll just look nice. I'll draw another center line through this piece also. With the marker. because I just think it'll look nice. And I'll do it through this one too. I'm going to get rid of this bottom piece of paper. It's a bleeding paper. So in case my ink bleeds through, but it's coming through, I can see through it, so I'm going to get rid of it, have a blank sheet of paper underneath. Alright. There, I've got my design basically drawn, and I'm going to start rendering up the leather part. Just parallel lines. Fade it off as I go out. I'm going to go around the inner part of my hardware to show where the shadows go. I'm just doing diagonal lines to suggest metal. Some stitchings. I'm going to use a dark marker for that. I think a darker one. So where's my marker selection? Here, replace the C1 and I'll go with C5. A little bit darker. Let me test it. Should I use this for some outlines? I think I'm basically done. What time is it? I've still got 30 minutes, so I forgot what to, I need to put some stitching in. So I need to point something out about stitching. When you're drawing stitching, stitching is not like this, is it? It's not straight, is it? Is it straight?
Yeah.
I thought it's more like this. Oh.
No. Something's really wrong.
Some is straight.
Like
Some is like that.
maybe like hand stitching? When the shoes.
Okay, okay, fine. Let me try C3 marker. Let's just try some straight stitching. There we go. That looks nice. Whenever you put stitching, it automatically sings fabric and soft goods. It's funny how it's a obvious but subtle thing. Right as you stick that stitching on, instantly everything reads correctly. Okay, I'm going to put in some white paint, I guess, in this. But before I do, that's the very last step. I'm just going to do some fancy little shadowing stuff just to pop this thing off. I've got time. So, and what I mean by that is just some simple cross hatching. It takes a little time, but it looks nice because texture and repeated patterns such as these parallel lines, I say this before, it's really like a feast for the eyes. It really makes drawings pop. Whether you do this digitally or you do it manually, just those repeated lines just really does help drawings. Okay, now black pen, this black felt tip. This is guaranteed to pop it off. I'll start off with all the under surfaces, which are in the deep shade. Because this thick pen covers up a lot of damage and bleeding, so that's why it's a nice tool to help cover up mistakes. It makes your drawing look crispy. Some dark. I'm going to blend all of this ballpoint pen. All I'm trying to do is make my drawing pop off the page. That's why I'm going to go with this heavy shadow. Okay, I'm going to pop off. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pop off the hardware. This is all about hardware, so I'm going to do the hardware. I'm going to make it dark. Okay, this is the last ditch effort. Because if I put white paint on, it's going to pop it. I know it is. One stroke. When you're doing markers, just do one stroke. Let the marker do the work. You don't do the work and like keep rubbing it. You know, just back and forth. Just you just do it. One stroke, and the marker will do all the work for you. It's like when you're cutting with a saw. You want to just let the weight of the saw sit on the wood and cut without you pressing, because the weight of the saw will do all the work for you. It's the same with the marker. The nib of the marker is already designed to make it a nice smooth stroke. If you start going back and forth too much, you're ruining the whole point of the design of the marker. Might as well just do one stroke. Otherwise, you can make it look like crap. So I'm going to go over this again. You can build up the layers of marker to give it some tone. Okay, I think I'm going to get the white paint out. 15 minutes, so I think, got my paintbrush right here. Oh man, I hope I have a white pencil. I hope I do. I need one. I don't. Got a white gel pen, which is kind of, got my white gouache. No white pencil. Damn it. That would have really done a nice trick, but I can't do anything about it. I don't have a white pencil. Fine. I have to remember where my light source is, which is right up here. So that's where I'm going to start putting the paint. Position the paper so it works really nice and comfortable for you, because you have to be very delicate when you're doing paint. So this is the brightest corner because my sunlight is coming from this direction, so I'm going to continue this theme around the, I put the hottest spot first, which is in direct line of the light source, and fade it off as you go away from that hot spot. Oh, because I was thinking, you know what? Actually, you're right, Morgan. Because what I was thinking it would be, the shape would be something like this. I was thinking the shape would be something like this. And stroke, one stroke. So you know how I was talking about chicken scratching and going back and forth? Try not to, because it's wasting your energy, and it's way more efficient using the material, using the brushes and the markers and stuff as they're intended to be used with just one stroke. So that's why I'm just trying to go one stroke and then fade it off, because the brush gets thinner as you kind of fade it off. So just using how the tools are designed to get the most out of it. So this is drying right now, so it looks super shiny. It's hard to see what's going on, honestly, until it dries. But I'm going to go in and do some more. Now, this is hard to explain, these parts. I don't have a way to explain it. This is called ambient light. And what it is the light coming from the other side. So, yeah, shadows on this side, I agree, but sometimes there's light on this side reflecting also. But to Morgan's point, I'm point, I'm going to put... Oh, this is why I did it, Morgan. This is why. Because on this side of the grommet thing, that's where I'm putting... So now it's kind of got a little 3D effect going on. So I am going to put the hot spot on the place closest to the light and spread it out, just one stroke. And then on the underside as well. What else? Oh, I forgot to put the black ink around there. I'm going to do it quick because I'll put some ink on there and it'll hopefully help pop it off. Started off from the gray marker all the way to a little bit of a little marker. Hardware. Okay, well, class dismissed. By the way, that took an hour.